Alright guys, first I'm going to start off with apologizing for the video not being what I said it was going to be today. My camera I used to do the chain install on my CBR 1000RR misfired, didn't work, whatever happened. I don't have any footage of it, whatever. So, as you can see, get down here, new sprocket, new chain is on, everything's done. So, I'm going to end up having to do it on my CB here soon. I mean, she's already at 7,000 miles. I mean, she'll be at 15,000, need a new chain shortly. So I'll just have to do another one then. So before we get started, I just wanted to apologize for that, and we'll get into that next video. All right, guys. So this video, I'm gonna change the subject from my chain, obviously, to the division amongst bikers. I've wanted to do something about this for a while. I even did a vlog, but it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, so I never released it. I think I can think a little more clearly, not riding my motorcycle and having to concentrate on what I'm doing, and Loki's gonna bump my camera. Nope, he did good. Anyway, so the division amongst bikers, and I bet everybody's talking about it now. That's why I want to do my own version. I apologize if my voice goes away. I've been losing it, but you got the the cruiser guys think that it's because all the sport bike guys are crazy and stupid. You got sport bike guys that think all the cruiser guys are old and boomers, right, or something. I mean, it's all these stereotypes, I think, is really what's doing it. Now, for all of you that don't know, I'm 51 years old. I'm a sport bike guy yet. Now, I've ridden everything. I bought a brand new 17 Ultra Classic Limited. I have owned multiple Softails. I've owned about every kind of bike you can imagine, because all my friends were going to cruisers. I wanted to be in the crowd, went with them. I really didn't like basically riding to bars, having a beer, going to the next bar, having a beer, you know, whatever. Not that way. I like to go out and ride. So I found a group now that we're all older. I'm probably one of the younger ones in the group, but we ride 300-400 mile days pretty consistently, and basically we just stop for lunch. Other than that, we're riding the twisties the whole time. Are we riding stupid? No. I mean, we're adults, we act like it, and that's the way we are. So what's causing the division amongst the bikers? I think it's YouTube and online pages on Facebook and stuff like that. People say things and show things and do things, and people are only seeing the things that they think is dividing us. The idiots riding wheelies at 100 miles an hour on the interstate between traffic, or the stunters, you know, just blocking traffic and doing whatever. And I mean, you got your Harley riders that have no experience and are just crashing and holding up traffic forever. I mean, you've got all these things that are showing not responsible, not growing up, inexperienced, stuff like that. And that's what everybody's showing online. Nobody's showing the good stuff or cares to watch the good stuff because it's boring. You know, I've posted many videos of us just riding, and even though we're riding pretty spirited, and you can see that we're getting way over on the side of our tires and stuff, it's boring because we're not crashing, we're not causing a ruckus, we're not creating a scene. So nobody really watches that. They only watch the bad stuff, which now that's given everybody an impression of how people are. And it's not really how people are. So I'm going to tell you a story. Just a week ago, pull into a gas station. Guy pulls in the gas station about the same time as me. He's on I believe he said it was a 17 Softail, but it was all modded. I mean, it was pretty killer bike. Modded up, way more horsepower, stuff like that. And I was on my CB. We take off he didn't have a helmet on. I took my helmet off, and he saw how old I was, and we just started talking. And by the time our conversation ended, he actually propositioned me to go riding with his group. Now, I'm not going to say who the group was. I will say it is one of the bigger 1%er groups out there, and if you know where I live, you should be able to figure out who it was, because this is their territory. I politely declined and said that you know, I prefer to just stick with my closer friends that I know how they ride and stuff, and I was just very polite about it, and he says, well, have you ever considered, he tried to talk me into going riding with him. And I said, if you guys, if I'm ever looking to go riding and you guys are out riding or whatever, yeah, I'd go ride with you. So anyway, we said goodbye, everything was cool, and he left. Now that's a true biker and a true biker, right? We were both bikers, we've both been riding for years. I mean, I've been riding for 30 years on the street. I mean, I've been riding dirt bikes for 45 or 6 years, 7 years maybe even. I don't even know. I mean, I was a little tiny kid on a 50 Honda riding around the tennis courts in Pearlie. So, that's what's out there when you're actually out in public talking. And it's the same thing even with the younger crowd. I mean, a buddy and I stopped at a gas station in Tulsa. A whole bunch of other sport bike guys pull in there. All of them are way younger than us. But we went over by them because we were going to get a little snack and stuff. We parked by them. Pretty soon we're talking with them, and everybody's talking. Pretty soon a couple older sport bikers pull up. A guy on a Harley pulls up. I mean, everybody's just hanging out talking. Very friendly. Awesome. Now, we didn't go riding with them. I don't know how they ride. There's idiots in every crowd. We all know that. There's idiots in every crowd. Don't try to think that just because you're riding a cruiser, there isn't going to be an idiot on a cruiser. Whether he's inexperienced and overriding his abilities, which is what 90% of the problem is with a lot of people. Doesn't matter what they're riding, they're inexperienced. And it doesn't matter if you've been riding for 20 years. If you've only been riding on straight roads for 20 years, bar hopping around, and then your buddies talk you into going to, we'll just use this for an example, the Smoky Mountains, Tail of the Dragon, right? Everybody knows that. That's why I'll say that. I ride the Ozarks all the time, but we are going out to the Smoky Mountains here in a couple weeks. But, so you know that. You get out there, the Smoky Mountains are very, very twisty roads. Doesn't matter if it's Tail of the Dragon or the Terre-Haute Skyway or any side road that doesn't even have a famous name. They're very twisty and very technical. If you don't have experience in that kind of riding, you are going to be a total beginner again, and you take that chance of risking your life or someone else's life because you don't know how to ride in that stuff. You think you do maybe, but you don't. And and then you get guys on sport bikes that are good riders that aren't even pushing their limits, but they're going to be 2-3 times faster than the guy on a Harley that may be a good rider too, but his bike is not capable of doing what a sport bike can do. So he's holding up traffic, and then you got people passing, people getting pissed off, right? I never really saw it person to person out there. I've heard a few stories, but online it's terrible. So here we're back to the online thing again. And I really think that the online videos and all that kind of stuff are what is dividing this community that used to be very close-knit. I mean, and it still is, I think, out in public for the most part. Now, my theory, like I've heard all these other guys saying their theories, and it's the sport bikers or it's the stunters or whatever, and yeah, you see that on the videos and stuff, but my theory is it's the newbies. The guys that want to show off or think that they're hot shit. So, and a newbie can be a 50-year-old guy on a Harley. It can be a 16-year-old kid on a sport bike. It can be a 20-year-old on a dirt bike. I mean, it doesn't matter what your age is or what you're riding. You're a newbie. It doesn't matter. So you've got this 45-year-old, 50-year-old guy goes out and buys a $40,000 Harley because all of his friends have one, and he goes riding with his buddies. Now he ends up crossing the center line and getting in a wreck with another bike, or he runs into the back of another bike, or he runs off the road into the ditch, or runs into a car, or who knows. And maybe it's even the other car's fault, but he doesn't have the skill set to avoid the accident. Whatever it is, he's the one that caused the problem, right? And he's the one that made the video that made the internet and blew up, went viral. Then you got your 20-year-old on a dirt bike, dual sport, say. So he's on the street and he's riding wheelies, right? Trying to ride wheelies. Oh, he flips over backwards. Made the video, goes viral. Or He gets chased down by somebody that's pissed off in their pickup because he's riding wheelies in front of their house or in their neighborhood, or maybe he went off road on private land or whatever. These are the videos that are making the big headlines and going viral. So all of a sudden, now there you go. You know, that's what you see, that's what you think. Now you've got the 16-year-old, gets his license. Now I know in other countries, you need to go, you got a step system for your licensing, so you can't just go buy whatever bike you want. In the United States here, land of the free, right? You get your motorcycle endorsement. You don't even have to have a motorcycle endorsement. You can go buy whatever bike you want. So you got these 16-year-old kids that have the egos of a freaking, you know, MotoGP racer or a Isle of Man TT rider, and he goes and buys the fastest, hottest leader bike you can get, right? Which all the leader bikes now are so comparable that, you know, they we don't even need to talk about it, but they're all so comparable, doesn't matter which one you buy. A couple modifications here and there, and, you know, whatever. But anyway, so they go out and buy this leader bike, and what do? The first time they take it out, you know, they're probably not even 5 miles from the dealership. They yeet themselves into the universe because they floor it, and all of a sudden this bike goes over backwards so fast they didn't even know what happened. Or they're riding it so fast because it'll do 150, 60, you know, leader bikes almost 200 miles an hour before the ECU shuts them down. You don't realize how fast that is and how fast you come up on traffic that's only doing 60, 65, the speed limit. They run into the back of a car. You know, they try to split lanes because they think, oh, I can do this. I've seen millions of people on YouTube do it. Run into a car, you know. Cars don't see you coming when you're coming that fast. Run into a car. And I've seen Harley guys doing it too. Cruisers, whatever. I had one pass me on 169 here last time I was in Tulsa. Freaking ridiculous. I mean, he came flying within just inches of me because he was splitting me and the car that was next to me. And then he freaking split the cars that were ahead of them and then flies over like 4 lanes and splits some more cars. And I mean, he was blatantly just riding like an ass with no gear on. So what's going to happen? I don't know if he had a camera on his bike or not. I didn't have my cameras rolling that day. I was kind of upset I didn't, because that would have been great to get on video. It probably would have went viral. But what happens when he crashes? He dies. What happens then? He makes the news. Big headlines. Motorcyclist crashes, dies, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Oh, big red flag for everybody. You know, and it doesn't matter what you're riding. Like I said, that was a Harley. Do you see them as often? Probably not. I don't know. I mean, you see them all. And I couldn't tell you how old this guy was. Who knows? You know, but his ego was outriding his ability, I'm sure. I hope he didn't crash, but you never know what happened. So that's what I think is happening, is it's actually people watching stuff online that's dividing us. We aren't all assholes, and we aren't all good. It's just like anything in the world. Got assholes everywhere. Got good people everywhere. Same in the biking community. I mean, like I said, the 1%er came up to me. Everything was fine. I was on a sport bike. You wouldn't think that would happen, right? But it did. Why? Because it's a community, and when you're out in public, it still is. When you're online, it's not. It's a division and a battle, and just ridiculous. You know, and then I made a video about boomers and millennials. I don't need to go into that too much. You can go watch that video if you want. But I don't even think that the boomers or the millennials are even realizing that they're talking to one another, or that they're even talking to each other. It could be millennials and millennials, whatever, because the millennials aren't young anymore. People seem to forget that. They're not the young ones with no jobs anymore. They're the ones that have families and have to work. They're in their 40s. They're hitting their 40s now. You know, they're well in their 30s. You know, Gen Z's even in their 20s. I mean, it's just getting so sick to hear that all the time, you know. Okay, boomer, or oh, millennials, you know, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Let's get over the division online. I mean, some of it's funny. It is. But some of it's just stupid. And like I said, I really think that it's the YouTube videos that are going viral because of how crazy they are, or how stupid they are, or whatever. They're the ones that go viral. Let's take an example. Max Wrist. Probably the most popular sport bike rider on YouTube, right? I mean, he's either hated the most or he's liked the most. whichever, it doesn't matter. He's getting the views and he's making money off of it, right? How's he doing it? He's a good rider. He is a good rider. But he's a little out of control, and that's what gets him views. He's had a couple crashes, a couple bad crashes in the last year. One wasn't his fault. Well, it might have been his fault. He might have turned around in the middle of the road when a guy was coming around a blind corner. We don't know for sure because we didn't see it actually happen. They came up on it. This last one was definitely his fault. Just riding fast, coming around the curve, car in the road, oh, guardrail all of a sudden too, nowhere to go, crashed. Bad deal. I mean, it is a bad deal. And he got banged up pretty good again. Will he learn from it? I don't know. You know, it's his livelihood. It's how he's making money. If he goes to making videos like me, he won't get the views, he'll lose his subscribers, and he probably won't make money anymore. So he almost has to keep riding like that. You know, you've got quite a few people like that out there that, you know, they're putting on a show. And, you know, and then you got, it seems like the cruiser guys really stick together and support each other and stuff. The sport bike guys are a little more divided because you do have a lot of the younger guys in the group. So you got the older guys that are like, oh man, he's an idiot, and you got the younger guys which are like, oh, he's an old boomer, right? So it's not quite the camaraderie as you get in the cruiser crowd. But that being said, you have some of the cruiser crowd, which I don't think are your true bikers. They're your newbies or, you know, weekend warriors that don't really ride other than to go to the bar on a Saturday or whatever. You know, they're splitting up that camaraderie in that group too, because they're causing issues instead of welcoming in other riders. You know, I went on a toy drive with, it was multiple 1%er clubs. They do this big toy drive and they all come together for it. They don't have any issues. And they, I went on it on my Repsol last year. This was last Christmas. No problems with anybody. Everybody welcomed me with open arms, talked. It was all great. So let's not promote the division and try to throw blame anywhere, because that's just making it worse. Let's just ignore the crap that's going on online, because that crap, like I said, is a very minor, very small percentage of what really goes on in the biking community. Like I said, the stuff that goes viral is the stupid and crazy stuff, the stuff that people want to see. Just like when you go to the races, 75% of the people there are to see crashes. The other 25% want to see good racing. And usually that 25% are either retired racers or guys that want to race. So that's about all I got to say. Like I said, I believe it's the online, YouTube, Instagram, whatever, that's causing the division. I don't think it's any certain type of bike or rider. I mean, comment below, tell me what you think, and I'll discuss it with you. I mean, I have no problem sitting and talking with people, and if it gets to be too much, let's actually talk about it if we can. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say for now. Adopt, don't shop, and we will catch you on the flip side. Take care, guys.